Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making monkfish with turmeric and dill. To start this dish, we need to make a marinade. So to a mini chopper, I'm adding 2 cloves of garlic, a 1-inch piece of ginger, and a teaspoon of neutral oil. We are just going to blitz this up until we get a nice fine mince, kind of garlic ginger paste. We're going to pop this into a large bowl, along with a teaspoon and a half of sugar, a teaspoon and a half of turmeric, which is going to lend this gorgeous bright yellow color to our fish, a tablespoon of all-purpose flour, and a tablespoon and a half of fish sauce. We're going to give this a really good mix until it forms a nice paste, because this is going to coat our fish. For our fish, I have 2 pounds of monkfish. Use whatever white fish that you prefer, but the only difference is the marinade is going to be shorter because we don't want the fish sauce to break the fish down. So I'm just cutting this into 2-inch pieces because we want this to cook as evenly as possible. Now, monkfish is a poor man's lobster. It's super firm. So we're going to pop this into our marinade, toss this around till each piece of this fish is coated. Now we're going to put a lid on this and let this marinate in the fridge overnight. If you're using a flakier white fish, only marinate this for 2 to 4 hours because the fish sauce may make it a little too salty and might break down the fish. So it is the next day. I've pulled out our fish and we're going to bring this to room temperature. And while that's coming to room temperature, we're going to make a nuoc cham sauce. So to a small bowl, I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm using raw sugar, but use whatever sugar you have. 4.5 tablespoons of fish sauce. Give this a little stir to start melting up that sugar. The juice of 1 lime. Just squeezing all that nice tartness in there. We're going to chop up 2 cloves of garlic and 1 hot chili. Use whatever chilies you have. I have bird eye chilies here. We're just going to chop this up into a nice thin dice. And we're going to stir this around till all that sugar has dissolved. This is classic Vietnamese flavors. You get salty, sour, spicy, sweet, and this just gorgeous depth of flavor, and it just adds so much goodness to everything you're eating. Now for the fish accompaniments, I have 6 scallions. We're just going to chop these into 1-inch pieces, saving those green tops to chop into smaller pieces for our garnish. We're also going to need about a cup of dill, just pulling off some of the stems and popping that into a bowl. For our garnishes, we're going to need mint and cilantro. I like to put these in cold water and put these in the fridge. It keeps it nice and fresh. We're also going to need vermicelli. Just cook that according to the package directions. Now over on the stove, over medium heat, we're going to add in about a tablespoon of neutral oil, and we're going to start cooking our fish in batches. Now this is monkfish. It's a little more dense, so we're going to cook this 5 minutes. Flip it and let it cook for an additional 3 minutes. If you have like cod or haddock, it's basically only 2 minutes per side, but you don't want to overcrowd your pan. So do this in batches, pull out the pieces that are cooked, let them rest while you cook the rest of your fish. It does help to have a non-stick pan as well. Giving these a little flip, you want a little crust on the bottom of these, and then we're going to pull these out and cook the next batch. Now in that same pan, I'm adding another tablespoon of neutral oil. We're going to tip in our scallions and our dill, and we're going to only let this stir fry for a minute and a half. You just want that dill to wilt down and those scallions to tenderize a little bit. Then we're going to introduce back in our fish and let this cook for an additional minute or 2 at the most. Again, if you're using a cod or a haddock, just let this cook until that's reheated through. Now to plate, I am going to add a little of our rice vermicelli noodles to a bowl, chop it with our gorgeous turmeric and dill monkfish, and our scallions too, layering in our mint leaves and our cilantro. We're also going to garnish with a little roasted peanut, our scallion tops as well, can't forget those, the roasted peanut. And then we're going to drizzle on our nuoc cham. It's going to add It's just going to boost the whole dish. So drizzle on it as much or as little as you prefer. And this is looking beautiful. Now let's go ahead and give this a taste. The fish is delicious. There's a very subtle flavor from the turmeric. The dill adds a freshness. The mint and cilantro have these pops of herbaceousness. The nuoc cham adds that sweet, sour, salty, spicy kick to this dish. And the vermicelli just soaks up all that gorgeous sauce. It's just a nice accompaniment for this delicious and easy weeknight meal. But there it is. Monkfish with turmeric and dill. I really do hope you all try to make this in your home. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you again, and until next time, happy cooking.